All right, here we are. I've been waiting a while to put this one together. This is the World Champs recap, live from Abu Dhabi. I'm going to go through the races, how they played out, and what went down on what was one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had. Today's video, I'm going to talk primarily about the racing, how it played out, the points, all that kind of thing, rather than the experience itself, because I want to get this done in a bit of a timely fashion. I might do a whole trip recap with the more specific parts later on, but I just want to get this race recap out so you can enjoy what was a really successful World Championships. So everyone's here warming up on the stage. You can see that it's not too tightly packed in. Here's the stage one. The riders are lined up. They're ready to go in the UCI World. My strategy was to go lap one and to go once. That was what was in my mind. I trained to do that. I didn't want to waste the energy to go twice. I wanted to save that energy for stage two and stage three, knowing that a 25 to 30-second sprint will take a bit out of the legs. So one and done was my plan. Whether that got me a good score or not, we will see. I was probably seated towards the back in an all-out sprint in this field. One of the lighter riders in the field, and certainly not a sprinter, but I was hoping to hold my own. Going into the event, I had a bit of a plan that I would hopefully score good points on the climb in stage two and double points at the finish if I could. That would set me up well. I didn't think I'd be on many points after the stage one and at the base of the climb in stage two. I then kind of hoped to put in a better performance than I did in stage three in the semis, where I was 16th place, to try and get a good result. I was hoping if I could get top 15, I'd be pretty happy. So here's stage one. You can see the route there. The riders have 15 minutes to set the fastest time. The fastest rider will score the max points, so 20 down to 1. It's a 1.7 kilometer loop. There's a 300-meter segment in there. It's a fastest through segment. So to be fast, you probably want as much draft as possible, and you probably want to hit the start at a pretty decent speed, was my idea from the recon. So you can see us all riding there, warming up. We've got quite a bit of space there. I'm in a pod next to Teppo and Martin Martins up in the back middle there. There's the gradient of the course, pretty flat, but there's a bit of a dip in the velodrome before the sprint segment to pick up some speed. All right, we're about to see the start banner drop. The 2024 UCI Cycling Esports World Championships, live from Abu Dhabi, is about to begin. You can see most of the riders getting out of the saddle for zero, and we're off. So out of the start gates, and it was a bit cagey for a few seconds. Riders getting up to speed, and then we start looking at each other. You can see the mini map in the bottom left-hand corner that a few yellow dots do not come with the pack. Now that is critical to what happens in stage one. The rest of the pack are together, so the other 19 riders. And if you look at the right-hand side, you can see the watts per kilo, very small. So zeros, ones, twos. The riders are not pushing hard. Most riders, I imagine, would be planning on hitting a sprint on lap one, but no one wants to be the person to lead it out or at the front. We saw in the women's race earlier that something similar happened where they weren't going too fast through this section. I am finding myself near the front a lot of this time, even though I'm doing 0 watts a kilo. You can see me up there in second in the yellow hat and the Australian kit. Speed is dawdling, so 23 kilometers an hour. No one's pedaling. Now, I think the organisers were worried that there were 22 trainer dropouts at this point because no one was doing anything. There I am on the front. The pace is ridiculous. And you can see on the mini map, those 3 dots are still at the back. That's important. Those guys are going to pull off a bit of a masterstroke here. They're all in the stars and stripes. They're the Americans. As we start to go down that descent, we're all rolling. No one's putting down any power. The speed picks up a bit, and it was about this time, if no one kicked now, I made a split-second decision that our entry speed was not going to be high enough to hit the sprint in a good time. So I've pulled the pin right now, and all of a sudden, everyone still commits, and here they go. They're off to the sprint. They hit it at such a low pace. And look at those numbers. The sprint numbers here are insane. I'm seeing some 18 watts a kilo from lots of riders. So massive sprints, but the speed at entry was just so slow. Vida, I think, takes the bunch with that time there, but I actually noticed as I was cruising through at the back, the 3 stars and stripes boys came through at such speed. And as soon as I saw them kick through, they'd timed it perfectly. They'd done a lead out. Their time was so much faster than everyone else's. I basically clapped them through, said, well done, boys. I knew that was 1, 2, 3 right then and there. The Americans pulled off a great move. And right now, I'm sitting there very worried. I haven't sprinted. I'm in last place in the World Championships, and I don't know what's going to happen. Right now, I'm hoping that this bunch stay together as they are, like this, really lined out. My plan now is to absolutely tear through them on lap 2 and just hope that with a good entry speed, I could put myself somewhere up the rankings. What a split-second decision that was. Like, in the heat of the moment, to bail out of that sprint when I'm going to be one and done. I'm pretty proud of myself for having the kind of the calmness to initiate that decision in the moment. But right now, I'm shitting my pants. So I'm just hanging out, lurking at the back of this pack. They're still dawdling, so I'm worried again that I'm not going to get any assistance from these guys whatsoever. As they, again, dawdle down the velodrome. So if anyone's going to go for a flyer from this group, they're not going to hit a fast time. And you can see my yellow dot there at the back. This is where I launch right now. I kick from the descent. I start to get up some speed, and my hope is that I draft through this bunch before the green start line, so I'm at peak velocity, and then just hang on through the sprint. So you see on the left-hand side, there I go. I'm kicking hard, and I pretty much from this point on have no draft. I had no draft the whole time down there. I almost caught Kaminsky. I got like 7 meters. If I got 1 more meter closer to him, I reckon I would have rode half a second faster, but I didn't. I had no draft basically the whole time. But with that entry speed, we came through. I saw 18 seconds pop up. I knew it was going to lift me up a bit. And then I see 5th place, and there we are. We are happy with that. Currently sitting 5th, knowing that the group is now a bit split. Few people have sprinted. Right now, I'm content. I know at this stage I'm not going to drop all that far down the leaderboard. And sitting in 5th, completely unexpected for a lightweight rider like myself. Good points early. As we continue, I'm still 5th place. No one's overtaken me. That crafty move turned out to be a bit of a masterstroke for 16 points. The Americans, hats off to them. Good tactics. They absolutely nailed it. But to start off with 16 points is a great start. It allowed me to employ some tactics in stage 2 with confidence that I could be safe and ride a good stage. Standings after stage 1. So they're in 5th place. If you look at the official results, I had the least watts of anyone in that stage. But again, I hit my biggest watts before the segment even started. So not necessarily a reflection, but basically just some Zwift craft. I've done so many FTS on Zwift, and the key is not to do the segment well. It's to get to the segment in a good place, and that's what we did. So 16, and we are off. Stage 2 is a strategist. So a 9K circuit with a 4-minute climb. There are points at the base, at the top, and double points at the finish line. So there's the 20 down to 1 for the base. The climb is exactly the same, and then there are doubles at the finish. Now, My plan after my ZRL on Bliff Heights a few weeks ago, I got all the points, but I faded at the top of the grade when Marco and those other guys kicked. I couldn't go with their power after sprinting for that 5-minute effort. So given I had 16 points early, I'd made the decision that I wasn't going to contest the base of the climb points. I had given myself enough of a points buffer compared to my expectations that I was happy to sit that out in the hope that then I'd have the power for the climb and then the double points at the finish. So really able to make some strategies based on those unexpected points, which I think put me in good stead for how this race played out. And this man would be vital to my hopes. All right, so we rode the first few K. It was certainly not as hard as in the semi-finals because there were no team tactics. A few guys went for breakaways that weren't going to contest the climb. So Barnes in there, they got out in front. They're looking good for the 20 and 19. You can see me up in 5th. That's because I wanted to get in a good spot before they unleash the sprint to hopefully not get overtaken by too many so I could get a few points without exerting effort. And that's exactly what I did there. So I come across the line, I think, in 17th place. I score 4 points. I still beat 5 riders across the line, but importantly, I did not go above 9 watts a kilo at any point, I don't believe, and I still felt ready to go for the climb. The top at least 7 or 8 guys there really put in a big effort, and there are probably only a couple of guys in the field who can do that and then put out the numbers required to get up this hill in a massive state. So Ollie Jones pushing the pace at the start of the climb. He didn't contest the sprint properly, so he's going to have some power. Jason Osborne did, but he's got the power that he can do whatever the hell he wants. All the names are there. We're all together. You can see a few are sagging back. They're not going to make it up the top of the climb. They're probably the guys that have just sprinted for the points there and got a really good haul. But you've got to make decisions in this format. As we head into the final 400 metres of the climb, Jason Osborne starts to stamp his authority over the field. Super strong rider. He's not a former world champion for nothing. You can see Bjorn, previous world champion as well. He's heading up into second place, and this is where things get interesting. So Pucker's trying to get in there for third, and now Lionel's kicking as well. You start to get these rider displays up on the screen. And there I am moving myself up into 5th place. Just as the climb kicks up to 16%, I realise I've still got good watts left, and I push myself up in towards the line at 10 watts a kilo. I start to head past Pucker. I'm looking pretty good here, looking at the time gaps, to come across this com in 4th place. 4th place out of a who's who of the best in esports. Absolutely stoked to be here. And if I can now ride on, then I can get some good double points at the finish. And look who I'm with, Hayden Pucker. If there's anyone you want to be with for the final 3 or 4K of this race, it's Pucker. So just quickly, to get 4th up that climb, it was 7.75 watts per kilo for 4 minutes and 10 seconds. So that's pretty solid numbers. I don't know what Jason did, but it must have been pretty big, I'd imagine. So you can see me there absolutely struggling. Pucker's just about to get on my wheel just as we hit the descent. That's bad. He comes through with momentum, and I have to absolutely sprint my lights out to just get in his wheel. You can see it there. That's the 11, 12 watts a kilo just to get in Pucker's draft, and I managed to do so. And now I'm feeling set for the last few K. Get a little chance to recover, and now the rest of the stage begins. So we're heading up this bridge with a couple of K to go. Now I know, because I can see Knudsen and a group of about 5 or 6 others about 10 seconds back, that I cannot get dropped by Pucker, or I am an absolute sitting duck. So I'm doing everything I can to just hold Pucker's wheel. I didn't do any turns. Pucker is so strong he can do them himself. And I think we also have Lionel and Bjorn concerned that we'll catch them as well and could impact some of their double points. So they're pushing on. Pucker, I think, is trying to catch him. But again, I'm just trying to hang on to his wheel with everything I've got. He puts in a couple of little digs. There was one on a descent where I had to hit 950 watts just to stay on, but I managed to fight and to do so. Getting a top 5 here would really set me up with a good place heading into the third race. Just look at that stage. How cool. So we're heading into the last kilometre of the course. We've got 7 seconds on Knudsen. So I'm thinking at this stage, if anyone catches us, it's only going to be one. But I'm hurting pretty hard here. But we're only 5 seconds behind those guys, so they don't want to ease up, or they could bring us back into it. Now, Pucker and I are still pushing pretty solid. I had to do a lot of watts just to hold on Pucker's wheel. What a strong athlete. But if I get over this one, I'm confident that it's going to be a top 5 placing for the stage. I think for the whole stage, I average about 410 normalized. So pretty solid for 13 minutes. I think that's, it's got to be like 6.7, 6.8 watts per kilo normalized for the stage. It was a tough one. And we head into the final sprint here. And I thought I might try what I did in the semis and catch Pucker off guard, but there was way more fatigue in the legs. And as it rose up, I had pretty much nothing left to give. So we're kicking now. Osborne's going to take the stage win. I'm there. You can see him doing 9 watts a kilo. Pucker also is. I grab a lead on him, but he still has some left. I give it one more kick up to 11. And then I think Pucker's able to respond to me, and I roll through in 5th place. So a good stage. Couldn't ask for much more than that, to be honest. And that's going to put me in a good place heading into stage 3. And the points after stage 2 are there. I am equal 4th heading into the final stage of the World Championships on MyWhoosh. If I got Pucker at the line, I would also be in the bronze medal position. But anyway, I'm just happy at this stage with where I am on the leaderboard, thinking that, this is going to be a better than expected result as long as I can hang on. Now, my legs are very fatigued at this point. I'm not looking forward to stage 3. Just a quick note that number 7 there is actually Bjorn from Denmark. So they've got Ollie there twice. The rest of the leaderboard is how it should be. Now, the Elite Justo trainer, pretty much exactly as I experienced in training. So stage 1, I felt like I needed probably a 56 chain ring. I was spinning out a little bit, so it's not ideal resistance-wise compared to my Kickr. Stage 2, on the climb, it certainly had those more resistance changes than my Kickr does, but I trained for it, so I was pretty comfortable in that 5-minute climb, shifting between what was suitable to average that 470 watts or whatever it was. It wasn't efficient like my Kickr, but I managed to do what I can with a device that I just didn't find smooth. Stage 3 was the tricky one on that device, though. I've not got into a rhythm on it at all. I find it really difficult to hit 650 watts consistently with the gradient changes and the need for constantly shifting. So I was a bit worried that that's how it was going to play out heading into stage 3 compared to the devices that I feel comfortable on. Stage 3 is 4 laps of a 4-kilometre circuit with a 50-second climb at the top of every lap. So points are awarded 20 down to 1, as they were in the previous, for laps 1, 2, and 3, with double points available on the last lap to crown the world champion. All right, so final stage gets underway as we head down the hill. Everyone starts to bunch up. Now, in the semi-finals, this was an interesting race. The pack continued to come together to sprint every lap. Now, with the championship on the line, rather than trying to qualify, I did not expect that would happen. But this first lap was pretty hard. Now, you can see here Thrall, Nair, and Barnes all attacking off the front. All riders who have a lot to gain if they can get a gap on the peloton without being chased. So, but the pack respond to that. So you can see Pucker going. That's going to create a response from all of the big hitters. So it was a pretty frenetic start to this stage. And it's certainly going to make a bit of an impact come that sprint. Now, heading into the downhill of the course, and Johan Noren's putting a bit of a dig, James Barnes and Nair as well, all three riders who want to get away, want to get a share of the points to boost himself up the leaderboard without too much to lose. Now, the Belgian rider here does some great work for his teammate, Lionel, by chasing and sacrificing himself to make sure Lionel can get up the front near the pointy end of the points, and is currently leading. I put in a 13-watt attack early on in that attack to try and get across, and it did sting the legs a bit. I had to bail out. Maybe a little bit of energy wasted, but I was in a good spot, and I wasn't particularly confident with how I'd climb on this one, given that in the semis, I was 16th on this stage out of these riders. All right, all the riders are up out of the saddle, so to me, that looks like we're into the climb. Now, looking at me, it just don't look like I'm putting out that many watts. I'm finding it hard to get into the rhythm on that Justo. You can see the packs coming at 13 watts a kilo, 11 watts a kilo. They're pretty big numbers for a 45-second climb. As we go around the corner, you can see them at the back of the bunch. So not in a good spot, and it's about here that I realise I've got some legs left and I need to start getting busy. If I want to hold on to a good position, I need to start moving through the field to not lose touch with some of these front riders. So Bormans goes over the top in first, gets some good points, moves himself up into the medals. Lionel second, so he consolidates his lead too. The front group start to get away. See the points on the left updating. There's me. I cross in 17th. And I'm in a group with Turek, Knudsen, and Martins. It is vital that I get onto Turek and Knudsen's wheel here, because they're the kind of rider that are going to continue to push throughout the race to get back on terms with some of those riders who got away on that first climb. Now, not particularly happy with my numbers there. It just didn't feel smooth. I could never get into a rhythm on that trainer on this hill. It was about now that Jason Osborne started to put in the move that would see him go away to become the world champion. So they've just done an all-out sprint, and Jason's back up into 8 watts a kilo. Lionel, Casper, and Bjorn, the only guys that can follow this, but Jason just keeps driving on. You can see he's 8 points behind at this stage. So it's going to depend what happens in the rest of the field as to whether this could work or not. So Turek has made contact with the lead group here. I don't think I quite got across, to be honest. I might be in that group behind, but maybe I made it. I can't quite remember how many there were. I might have got there. As we head into the second climb, I've already dropped to 7th place on the standing. So for me, it's now about damage control as these guys kick up again into 12 watts a kilo. Osborne's got a 12-second lead, and he's going to hold on over the top and grab those 20 points yet again. So I've crested that time in 12th over the hill. I am with Tom Thrall, Stefan Van Alst, Neil Freyet's just there, and we're just losing Vidar, Power, Turek, and that group. I think as it settles down, Thrall and I might actually come past Neil and end up together fighting it out for 11th place on the stage. But you can see it's split into groups. The group with Jason, then there's the 3 best guys at this stage with Bjorn, Lionel, and Casper. Then there's another little group with Oli, Kaminsky, and co. Vidar, the guys that are climbing up that hill the next best. And then I'm just off the back again. So it's split everywhere. It was a pretty solid effort on this stage. I think I averaged 5.5 for the whole 22 minutes. A pretty solid normalised, I think, of about 6.3 for the stage. So even though there were easy parts, it was still pretty solid the whole time to make sure that the points stayed in our favour. So you can see me and Thrall there battling. Tom's hurting. I'm in 11th place. We're starting to distance Stefan and Neil. So for me, it's now important to kind of keep the pace honest so I can continue to rack up points. I'm down in 8th, but I can still hold on to a top 10. So you can see on the leaderboard there, I'm going through in 11th. I've gapped Thrall. So that position on the stage is looking pretty safe, except I've got Knudsen and Noren, very strong riders, trying to chase me down once it settles down. The leaderboard will update in a moment, and you'll see there I've got 6 points over Ollie Jones, 11 points on Turek. So I'm looking at where they're positioned to hope that they don't get enough points to overtake me on the standings. But I'm thinking at this stage, worst place, I'm going to get 10th. In the race for the rainbow jersey, Lionel still leads by a point, but Jason is wrapping up the stage with 2 points gap per place here. This is going to assure he wins the world title. Well deserved, so strong, clearly the strongest rider on the day, riding away on stage 2 and stage 3. What a beast. Congratulations to Jason. World champion, and he's happy with it. Pucker made a move to try and get the 38 points, but it's not quite going to pay off. As you can see, the pack storming home late. Casper, what a talent. He flies through. He was certainly the quickest up that hill throughout this stage. Bjorn is going to come through next, I believe, from Lionel. Kaminsky and Pucker. Everyone's cooked. The leaderboard updates, and it's going to be Lionel in silver, Casper 3rd, Bjorn 4th, Pucker 5th, Vidar 6th, Kaminsky 7th, and now Ollie's crossing the line, Turek's crossed the line. I don't think they've got enough points because I've held off Knudsen. I finished just behind Kiel Power, started to make some inroads late, and we officially, once we move up this leaderboard, you'll see it update, 112 points. We move up into 8th, top 8 in the world. Super happy with that. Couldn't ask for more. Didn't expect, with the format of the final being more difficult than the semis, that I would be top 8 in the world. So super pleased. All the boys getting around each other post-race. It was an awesome vibe. As I said, I might make more of a video about the whole trip, the experience, because this was surreal. What an experience. So cool to meet these guys. Well done to Jason. Well done to everyone out there. But that's it. Top 8 in the world. Goal for the season achieved and exceeded. It's time now. I'm going to have a bit of a rest. I've grabbed that Zwift Series pass, so things are on my terms now. By the way, ended up on the podium after the official results in that race. So financially, that's good. I don't really buy into the annulments of the other riders. That's a different story. But got that series pass, so I can have a bit of a break. I'll probably be rubbish in the next race, but I'll just try and accumulate. My next main goal is the Zwift Games in March. After holding on to the final stage last year, if I can get 8th on MyWhoosh, I can get better than 8th on Zwift. So that's where things are at now. We're going to go all guns blazing to peak in March. Let's get it done. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. I'll be back with lots more content coming now. Thanks for supporting the channel. Leave a comment. Happy to answer any questions or make a video about whatever anyone wants. But yeah, thanks for watching. Sick little merch we got over there. Cheers to Mackay Cycles for the support. Looking forward to being back on the Wahoo stuff. Now I'm home. It's been a while since I've been on that. The Specialized, it treated me so well while I was racing. Unfortunately, it hasn't came home in the same condition, so to be advised what's happening there, but it's a bit disappointing. But the bike was just top-notch in the race. So thanks to the crew there. We'll catch you in the next one.